everybody, it's EJ Stevens again, and welcome to the Newhallywood Film Festival. I'm going to break the fourth wall a little bit here and tell you the actual date we're doing this recording. This is February 2nd, 2021. I tell you that because there's a couple great things involved with that day. First, it's Groundhog Day, so we'll be doing this interview over and over and over. Not really. It's also well, I just got an email from Denny's. It's National Pancake Month, so we're pretty excited about that. But the real reason we're excited is because this year on February 2nd is the 150th birthday of Big Joe Roberts. Now, Big Joe Roberts, we're going to hear a lot about him. If you've ever seen Buster Keaton movies at all, you've seen Big Joe Roberts. And to talk about Big Joe and his family, we are very honored to be joined by Big Joe's granddaughter, Nina Roberts. Hello there, Nina.
Hello. Hi. Hello, everyone.
Nice to cyber meet.
It is nice to finally, after several phone calls and hopefully trying to meet up. It's nice to meet you.
So Nina, today would have been your grandfather's 150th birthday. That's pretty amazing.
It is. And here's a great little family photo to commemorate that. It's very typical of Big Joe.
So he was born, that would mean he was born in 1871. And just tell us about his life, because I'm sure a lot of people don't know the background of his story.
So Big Joe was born in New York, and 1871, February 2nd, and we don't have a lot of information on his early life. We just kind of kicks in when he was in vaudeville, a lot of different performances and acts with different people, other vaudeville actors, and including his first wife, Lillian Stewart. And they somehow met up with the Keatons through their acts in vaudeville, formed a very close friendship. And that is how actually Big Joe ended up in Muskegon, is because Buster encouraged him to move there, summer there in the Actors Colony.
So basically these vaudevillians, they'd be going on the circuits. They probably got very close to probably their whole world, all the people around them. And you're saying that in the summers they would go and live in Muskegon, Michigan.
Correct.
Okay. Now, did your grandfather was he from a performing family? Do you know, like his parents?
You know, I wish I could provide that information, but we just don't know. I haven't really been able to find a lot of information. I have ancestry type information, but not actually what type of work they did. And I don't even know much about the siblings. I haven't even found much about his first wife, Lillian Stewart. However, I do know that they had a child together. And
really?
Again, that research hasn't gone very far.
So what happened with Lillian? Did they separate then?
No, she passed away.
Oh, she did. Okay.
She passed away, and we don't know exactly how all of that evolved with my grandmother then and Joe getting married, because my grandmother was actually with someone else, also another vaudeville performer, and lived lived at the Actors Colony.
Okay, so
and her partner, his name was Jack Shannon. But as we know, the facts, Big Joe and Nina, my grandmother, they married and developed their own vaudeville acts. They follow Buster to Hollywood and becomes the Buster Keaton Studios.
Do you know how many years that they would summer at Muskegon? How long that lasted?
Well, the Keatons were there for some time, several years before my grandfather went there and built a house.
I think his father founded the colony, right? Joe Keaton?
I believe so. I believe he was one of the founding members. I don't know but I was trying to find out when I was in Muskegon with the census records, and I can get about to 1915, 1916 with my grandfather. And so I don't really know exactly when he was there.
So when Buster came west to start making movies, Big Joe came with him.
He did. He followed him to Hollywood, and that's where the story gets even more fun.
Well, it truly does get fun because I read that he was in 16 of 19 of Buster's shorts, and all of Buster's shorts are classics. So your grandfather was part of at least almost a couple dozen of them, which is incredible. I guess he was in a couple of the I know he was in Our Hospitality, and I believe he was in one other of Buster's features.
Three Ages, I
Three
believe,
Ages,
would be
that's
the
right.
other one. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Which was partly filmed fairly close to where we are here at Iverson Ranch, which is you can still find all the rocks from the caveman portion and all. Your grandfather and grandmother came west. Now they're Hollywood stars, and unfortunately, your grandfather passed away early.
Yes, he did. He did. I mean, I think that it's pretty well known. His health wasn't always the best, partly probably because of his size.
Yeah, he was a big guy.
He was a big guy. And so, yeah, sadly enough, when he passed away, they had just started their family. So my dad wasn't even a year. He was 10 months. And his brother was about 1.5.
Okay.
When he passed away.
And I'm sorry, what's your father's name?
Floyd.
Floyd. Okay, so
Floyd, and his older brother was Joe.
Oh, okay.
Another Joe.
Joe Jr.
Yeah.
So yeah, he actually passed away during the filming of Our Hospitality, I believe. Correct?
Either during or very close to the end. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so he died a fairly young man, 52 years old, which
52.
Yeah, died of a stroke. Now I'm sure Buster never got over that. I mean, they were not just co-performers, they were really, really good friends, correct?
Right. Yeah, they were close family friends, and you know, you always wonder, like, who knows how long they would have continued to perform together, but it sure did look like they were having fun.
So so now your grandmother, she also has a phenomenal story on her own.
So my grandmother, through the studios, and don't know exactly, she you know, in vaudeville, she was really a dancer and a performer. And later she became a hairdresser, and that was, I believe it happened after Big Joe's death. And she had a lot of connections. She had a family to support now. And so, yes, she was the hairstylist to many famous movie stars back in Technicolor days.
Yeah, even before Technicolor, right? Wasn't she like working with Mary Pickford very early on?
She was working with Mary Pickford and Norma Talmadge. Yes.
Wow, and she had a long career. I mean, she lived for a long time after her husband passed, correct?
My grandmother passed away at 89. So
Okay.
she did have a very long life. She did not remarry. She went on and worked in the studios until she retired to their beach house in Laguna. So around the late 1920s, I guess a lot of movie stars and Hollywood people bought lots down in Laguna Beach, and she did. And she built a little beach cottage for herself and the two boys. And my dad and his brother would summer down in Laguna with their nanny every summer.
Sounds like
So
a blast.
yeah.
Yeah. I'd like to be able to do that now. Yeah. So did the family, did they become performers? Did the performance gene pass down?
Not in relation to actual Hollywood type of performances. Um, my my dad, he went to Hollywood High, graduated from UCLA,
Hmm.
had gone through the cadet program, and so he went into the Air Force, and was he served 27 years as a
Wow.
B-52 pilot.
Wow. Okay.
So we have a very interesting background from that aspect. But our family, when we were in the U.S., we summered. Our vacations were mostly spent down in Laguna Beach.
Okay.
Many road trips to Laguna Beach.
So did you have kind of a military brat life yourself? Did you live a lot of places?
Well, we didn't live in too many places, but the most interesting place we lived was on Guam for
Oh,
2 years. So that was very interesting.
I also know that you're very involved, and as you should be, with the Damn Finos, which is the Buster Keaton, I guess the International Buster Keaton Fan Club. And tell us about that organization.
Well, so I knew about the Damfinos from early on, and I was just passionate about trying to get involved. And finally, I have 4 children, and once they were pretty much out on their own, I thought that now it's my chance to really
Mhm.
explore and get out and go to Muskegon. And so that was about 7 years ago, and I have enjoyed it ever since. This year, I did become a board member, and I really enjoy the involvement. The group of people are very creative and artistic, and they have just full of wonderful ideas. And it's been a real joy.
I assume you've gone to their festival. They have a festival in Muskegon, correct?
Correct. Oh, and it's wonderful. Muskegon's a great little town, and we all gather. Most of us stay at the Shoreline Hotel, and all of our presentations over a 2.5, 3 day period are take place at the museum in Muskegon. And they have a nice little amphitheater, just cozy, uh, for about 200 people. We usually have right around 100 that attend. And yeah, we just have a great time.
When does that take place usually?
It is always in October because the first weekend, because we also do it in celebration of Buster's birthday.
And I imagine this year it'll be online, like our presentation, correct?
Yes, and last year we did a little online celebration through Zoom. We had, I think, about 120 participants, and this year we're going to try and put something together, probably, hopefully, more like what your program's going to be, where it spans at least a couple days, and we have presentations and different people giving us information or whatever they're passionate about. It's amazing what people, their creativity, whether it's through art or music. We even have people who perform, so it's great.
One question back to your family. So obviously you didn't know your grandfather. He died almost 100 years ago. But you did know your grandmother, correct?
Yes, I did. Yes,
Yeah.
we
And
had a very close relationship. As you know, I'm named after her, so
right, right,
yeah.
right. So did she ever talk about the old vaudevillian days and the old, Keaton studio days, all that?
Oh, she did. She loved to tell us stories. Although I think most of her stories were usually involving uh, who's different movies that she was involved with, and of course, stories about Bob Hope and Danny Kaye and Lucille Ball, and just she just knew so many people, and uh, but sh so my grandmother, as you know, was older I was 15 when she passed away,
Hmm.
and although my dad retired to Laguna about 2 years before she passed away, but that last year or two, she was pretty frail.
Hmm.
And so most of the stories that I've heard have even come through my parents.
I see.
And because I was so young, I didn't really learn to appreciate it. But so many of the stories have been retold so many times that they're always fun to hear.
Well, I got to tell you, it's a real pleasure for me to finally Zoom meet, and I appreciate all the help you've given us here. We have a special presentation that you've provided of a video about your family, and I think it's a great way to celebrate your grandfather's 150th birthday.
Oh, I do think so. And in that video, you'll see I have some treasured items that I took pictures of. And I don't know if you were able to read the autograph on the Buster picture. Were you able to see that?
I couldn't see that one, but there is
it's autographed to my dad.
Okay.
And it says, "To Floyd, the best godson my mother has, Buster Keaton." So Myra, was my dad's godmother.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that special?
So your dad knew these guys.
Yeah, and it's interesting because talking to Melissa Talmadge Cox, who is Buster Keaton's granddaughter, and she and I know each other pretty well. We often wonder because Buster's sons, so her father and brother, are very close to the same age as my dad and his brother Joe. So we often have talked about, gosh, I wonder if they ever played together as little kids.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? It's possible. So, and then I have just a couple other things. I have this Keaton. This is a nice little treasure. This Rudy Blush book, because it's autographed, and it's autographed from Eleanor to my grandmother. So it's to Nina, who lived through more of this than I did, and I hope you enjoyed it.
Oh, wow.
And that's from Eleanor. And then Harry and Louise Keaton also signed it with Nina, some wonderful memories of Buster and Big Joe. So I have a couple really fun little treasures that we enjoy. My kids are now beginning to be more fascinated with it, especially my son. And he looked at these letters I have a couple from Mary Pickford, and he said, "That is just so amazing."
It really is. Well, Nina, once again, thank you very much for being part of our online New Hollywood Silent Film Festival, and hopefully we can meet in person sometime post-COVID.
Yes, let's do that.
Yeah, we'll get it on the calendar for 2022 or something. But once again, thank you so much, and we'll talk soon.
Oh, great. Well, thank you for having me. It was wonderful. It was fun. Thank you.
Thank you.